This is CityCast Twin Cities. I'm Sean McPherson, and here's what the cities are talking about. PaviElle, or Lady Luca, if that is your real name, you are one of my favorite DJs, and we're talking to a DJ later on the episode. So I got to ask you, who is your favorite DJ or DJs?
Oh, come to mind, two of them. Lady L from KMOJ and Lady J, Jackie Maddox from KFAI.
So just if I became Lady Twinkie Jiggles, would I be in the lineage of Lady Luca and Lady J? Ladies and gentlemen.
I'm sorry, Sean. I'm sorry. You just have to be Twinkie Jiggles. Yep, you just have to be Twinkie Jiggles. You have your own legendary status in your own right, sir.
That's our contributor, PaviElle French. She and I are going to run down recommended events for the week. And as mentioned, I'm going to be joined by a legendary DJ, Mary Lucia. We'll be on later to talk about her new memoir, which comes out tomorrow. PaviElle, you've been taking a look at the calendar for this Thanksgiving week, and I want to find out what's going down on Monday night.
So Monday night, we got Kirk Whalum. My mom used to love him. He is complete smooth jazz sax. He has two shows. It'll be at 7 and at 9. And they say it's soul cleansing, focused, and adventurous playing. And I was like, wow, the critics are just out here these days. But they said it's recommended for fans of Larry Carlton, Bob James, and Al Jarreau. So y'all go check that out because it's going to be a great show.
And that's at the Dakota at 7 and 9. Did you know that he played saxophone on I Will Always Love You with Whitney Houston?
Yes. Yep. Him and my boy, what's the other guy's name? That he was Lisa Simpson.
David Sanborn.
Thank you, David Sanborn. Yep, because he was on everything too.
Let's leave Saxophone Corner and talk about Tuesday's events, something going down at the Green Room.
So we have musician Nate Walker doing a Friendsgiving celebration, and that's going to be really cool. It's going to focus on Jillian Ray, Aiden Intro, C. Erholtz, Kathy Callahan, Seth Dunn, Diane Miller, and more. So y'all should go check that out.
And the Green Room is right in Uptown. And I thought this was cool, PaviElle. It's free if you RSVP in advance. So if you let them know you're coming, you can walk in the door for free. Big night Wednesday, one of the busiest bar nights of the year, the night before Thanksgiving. What are you looking at for Wednesday night?
Wednesday night, we got Cole Diamond's Twangsgiving featuring Tropical Depression, and it's an Alan Jackson tribute. It's a local show. It'll be with Thomas Stitcher, Lone Rock Bride, and Harlow, and the show is at 8.
What if I want to move my butt? What if I want to move my ass?
Well, if you want to move your ass, Sean. Then we got a late night takeout and dance agenda presenting House Giving at Eat Street Crossing, and that's at 9 p.m. And you can go shake and turkey trot and do all kinds of stuff over there.
Well, I'm not turkey trotting early because, PaviElle, as you know, I'm a very competitive runner, and I'm going to be involved in one of these turkey trots on Thanksgiving. Can I offer some advice to anybody who wants to run a 5K?
Please.
Screw it. Just do it. Like, it's a length of distance where if you walk, you'll be fine. What I do all the time is run a mile and then go on with my day. All I have to do on this 5K is run a little more than 3 miles. Will I take breaks? Will I walk? Yes. Will I brag about it for the rest of the holiday? Absolutely. So don't think you need to be like in tip-top form to run a 5K, because these are all trots. These are all walks. Do whatever it takes, but get out there and enjoy a little bit before you probably overeat later in the week.
I didn't know that you could take breaks in a marathon.
Well, it's not a marathon.
Yeah, it's not a marathon. It's just a run. It's just a run. So it's semantics, right?
PaviElle, if I told my neighbors I'm signing up for a marathon, Silas would put his arm around me and go, Sean, you got to finish within 24 hours. Like, because I couldn't do that. But a 5K, yes, they're not going to stop you from standing there. There's not a stampede. I've done 2 organized 5Ks, and yes, people stop and take breaks, stop and walk. And I think these things are built to intimidate people who don't want to do this stuff. I stayed away from this for too long. I love it, and go and be a part of it. You do not have to be an elite runner to enjoy a 5K.
See, and that opens it up so much more, because I would have never thought that. And I would, I would definitely do that if I knew I could take some breaks and get back in the game and, but it's a lot of pressure. So thank you for saying that.
Speaking of getting back in the game, serious shopping begins on Black Friday. And PaviElle, you got some holiday markets to highlight.
That's right. 'Tis the season to support local businesses, y'all. So number one, we're going to do the Palace Theater Holiday Market, and that's in St. Paul at the Palace Theater. I thought this was really cool. It's produced in collaboration with the exceptional team at Homespun's Events, the creators of the renowned Minnehaha Falls Art Fair, the Sculpture Garden, the Minnesota Merry Market, and the State Fair. So it's going to be really, really dope. It's free, and it will feature over 50 of the most amazing local artists and vendors. So go do that.
Let's also give a highlight. You work at the Capri Theater. You're doing wonderful work over there. And they got an event happening on Friday and Saturday. What is that all about?
So they are doing Black Friday on Broadway. It's a 2-day shopping experience, and it'll be held by the West Broadway Coalition. It's really, really dope. It's shop small, shop Black owned, shop North Side. So it'll be Black Friday, November 28th from 3 to 7. And then on Small Business Saturday from November 29th from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. So get ready, y'all, and come over north and come over to the Capri and celebrate the holiday season and shopping local and shopping with Black businesses. That's very important.
It is very important. I think the same way some people think they wouldn't be welcome at a 5K, I think a lot of folks go, I don't know if I'm supposed to go over to the Capri. And as a person who is an ambassador for the Capri, I'm hoping you can tell people how dope it is, how welcoming it is, and how much it'd be awesome to go visit there on Friday or Saturday.
Absolutely. The Capri is a high theater full of high art, just like any other theater here in this town, like Penumbra, like the Guthrie. We hold all kinds of different community events and also different plays, performances, concerts, everything. I've myself as an artist have played here multiple times and love it here. You can come over here and see the brand new neon getting built next door. There's a lot of stuff happening. So please, come on over here and stop putting stuff, barriers and stuff on yourself, y'all. Go everywhere in your city and go check out everything, okay?
Is the Neon Northside Economic Opportunity Network?
Yes. They're building a brand new building. It's like huge. And I've just been watching them build every day since I've been here. It's quite amazing.
Speaking of going everywhere in the city, there's a lot of events on Saturday. That would be Small Business Saturday. But the first one we want to highlight is actually about the Hmong New Year. What's the celebration for that?
Yes. So the United Hmong family will be holding the 50th year celebration of the Minnesota Hmong New Year at the River Center. And there's going to be vendors, which I'm trying to get in and go see. Like, I'm trying to go get some food, y'all. Listen, I'm trying to go get some food. Like, I love me some egg rolls. I used to go over to Golden Harvest over on the east side of St. Paul and go get them big. They had egg rolls that were this long, y'all. Sidebar. It was just, they had egg rolls that were this long.
If you're listening, we're talking, PaviElle's doing like a sturgeon catching a fish type of angle on there. This is a big egg roll.
It is. It's a big old egg roll. And it's like a 3-pack. And they be frying them in the store, y'all. It's no joke. So I want to go for the food, but also there's going to be singing and dancing and line dancing competitions, which I'm really interested in the line dance competition. I'm like, I get a dance competition, a singing competition, but what's the line dance thing?
I don't know if you're looking for me. I don't know diddly squat about it, but I'm going to learn. You're highlighting the food. I also want to highlight the visuals at this event are spectacular. The outfits, especially for the folks who are dancing, it is just absolutely visually stunning. And you got 2 more on Saturday. Tell me about Small Business Saturday, the Makers Market.
So yes, the Makers Market is it's put on by the Toolbox Collective, and that's all I got with that one. Y'all can check that out. It's brand new. It's the first time I've ever heard of the Toolbox Collective, and they do a lot of arts and crafts and even stuff like yoga, and it just hosts different events that are very focused on your well-being and being a creative. So I go check that out. And then we're doing there's this Broadway rave that's going on at the Fine Line. And it's a musical dance party based on Broadway, which I'm very interested in too. I'm sure it's going to be newer musicals though. And so I'm probably not, I'm a stickler. So it's probably won't make that one. Because if it's Elsa, if it's Frozen, can you imagine in there doing House to Let It Go? I'm sorry.
I feel like they're going to do the time warp again. I feel like that's guaranteed at a music theater dance party.
I can see that. There might be
maybe
something all that jazz. Maybe all that jazz. Just a little bit.
But honestly, a Saturday where you small business it out, celebrate the Hmong New Year, and sweat it out at the fine line on Saturday sounds like a pretty good offering. This is such a great weekend for events, and it dovetails into a great set of weeks for fantastic holiday concerts all across the cities. And thank you, PaviElle, so much for featuring so many of these great events to look forward to. And we're going to keep on getting these updates because, honestly, once Thanksgiving hits, it's just amazing concert, amazing concert, amazing concert. And we'll be sure to keep everybody updated about it.
That's right. And have a safe, happy holiday, y'all.
We want to hear from you. What events did we miss? What songs are they going to play at the Broadway Rave? Let us know by texting or leaving us a voicemail on the CityCast Twin Cities hotline, 612-217-0637. You'll hear those comments in a future episode. There's more news to discuss and a conversation to be had with Mary Lucia. Before we do that, we're going to take a quick break. Quick note before we start the conversation between myself and Mary Lucia. The large amount of panting you hear from time to time in the conversation is not my panting or Mary Lucia's panting, but is rather her two guests. I'm talking about her pugs, Enzo and Mr. Cheswick. If you're hearing some dog noises during the conversation, it's from Mr. Cheswick and Enzo. I'm excited to be here with Mary Lucia, iconic Twin Cities radio DJ, a former colleague, and a friend. And today we're celebrating the publication of her new memoir, which comes out tomorrow. The memoir is called What Doesn't Kill Me Makes Me Weirder and Harder to Relate To. And there's release events on December 9th at the Granada with Liz Winstead and on December 10th at the Landmark Center with Andrea Swenson. Mary Lucia, I am so happy to see you again and so thankful that you joined us on CityCast.
Sean, I concur. I missed you. I was able to hear you after I went off the air, and now I see that you're in this perfect job that you're perfect for.
Well, thank you. And if we're talking about, I know even in the book you say you didn't want a perfect life, nor have you had one, but your memoir is so beautiful and the memoir is perfect. I have an intro for folks, like the 11 people who go, who the hell is Mary Lucia? And then I have an intro I wrote for you. So I'm going to give the who the hell is Mary Lucia intro first. Mary Lucia is one of the most compelling humans I've had the honor of being around. In life and in work, Mary Lucia rightfully identifies her standout quality as her, quote, ability to connect with strangers or honestly owning up to being a genuine buffoon. In her joyous and heartbreaking new memoir, Genuine Buffoon Lucia describes how a life and career full of connecting with strangers led her to be stalked and terrorized by a stranger. I do not think this is a spoiler alert. Being stalked was terrible, debilitating, humiliating, and many people who you might think would have been in Lucia's corner were not. In the most trying times in this book, the person who is most in Lucia's corner is Lucia herself. And if you want to renew your faith in humanity, or perhaps find that faith for the first time, but you also want to double down on your distrust of corporations and the legal system, this is the book that you're going to read a number of times in a row while ignoring your texts this Christmas season. All right, Mary, I have an intro for you.
Thanks for making me cry.
Oh, keep the Kleenex handy, my friend.
I know, good Lord.
Mary, thank you for writing this book. I don't know why this book surprised me, and my biggest comparison for you is when you've seen a band that's great live and then you hear their studio album and you go, they pulled it off there as well. The book only surprised me because of how much of you came through on the pages. It's honest, but I knew that you were honest. It's raw, but I knew that you were raw. It's hilarious, but I knew you were hilarious. The crisis at the center of this book is heartbreaking, but I knew that crisis was heartbreaking. The narrative in the book is frankly uplifting, and I know your narrative is uplifting. Your boss was an asshole to you, and I knew your boss was an asshole to you. I sat right next to you. Your life was torn apart by a stalker, and a tremendous amount of people dismissed it, minimized it, or believed that your charisma as a radio host somehow explained or even justified you having a stalker. That's terrible. And I am sorry that people treat you that way. It is the most maddening part of this book was the willful ignorance and the look the other way that so many people in positions of power and positions of intimacy with you treated you with, and I am so sorry that you endured that, as well as the terrible nature of having a stalker.
Wow, hearing all of that, Sean, I mean, that means the world to me. And, I have a feeling that a lot of what I wrote in my book is going to come to a surprise, even to a cube mate, because I didn't share everything. But on air, I think if you are doing a good job as an on-air host, people do know you. I think if you're good at it, they have a pretty good sense of who you are. The people that were in the places of management or the people in my life at that particular time that I had to deal with were the people. If they'd been different people, I would have written about them. It was like this movie was cast before I ever stepped onto the stage. I really don't want to seem as though I'm just highlighting somebody's shortcomings or a company's shortcomings, but at the same time, I felt like I cut a lot of slack in that I was always the first one to say, I understand that you don't know what this feels like, but if you had just asked me what it felt like or what it was doing to me, that would have gone so far. But without that, and like you sort of mentioned, the whole business as usual was the hardest part for easily.
Yeah, I think ignorance can be explained. Willful ignorance is another thing. When people have an opportunity to get a hold on what's happening to you by just asking you, and so many times those opportunities came up short. And what I see is so many opportunities to understand who you are and what you are facing with a lot of brutal honesty that a lot of people at the moment missed. I'm about to Terry Gross this, Mary.
I can't wait.
Page 104, you have a line. I don't know if you can hold a book and a pug, but if anyone can, I bet you can. On page 104, you have a paragraph that starts, "The life I want is far from perfect," and was one of the most moving paragraphs in the book.
The life I want is far from perfect. Perfect is predictable and uninteresting to me. It's also unattainable, so let that go. Too many outside shitstorms will try and get in the way, but at least having the imagined blueprint for your life and practices, it's a mercurial and wonderful thing.
The reason this particular paragraph got at me, Mary, is sort of the next couple chapters, it becomes like a travel book for a moment in this way where you go, I need new traditions. I need new responses. I need to get the fuck. Now I'm using the F word. I need to get the fuck out of Minneapolis. And you get to New York. When I'm reading this and I'm comfortable, I go, oh, I get it. She's tired of eating all this shit in Minneapolis, and she's going to do something for herself to craft new traditions and respond to the difficulties, not just endure them. Did it look that thought out at the time, or you were like, I don't exactly know why I'm going to Memphis, but here I go? Or are you like, I get what I'm doing. I'm finding new traditions?
A little of both. I think that certainly within the context of my immediate family and their idea of what gathering together for Christmas was the bleakest just drag that I literally thought, why do I do this? I have to create something new, a new tradition. It felt right for me to be alone at Christmas in New York, even though a lot of people give you a side eye about that. Like, what do you mean alone? And it's like, you have no idea. The other aspect too, Sean, is that I felt like I know better, but there was a sense of, can I relocate this trauma? I started looking at cities that I could potentially live in because I just sort of faced the reality that nothing was working. No one was helping. And I thought, well, then maybe I need to just take myself out of here. I need to move away. It sounds so desperate, and I guess I felt it. But yeah, it was kind of like, let me do a little dry run and see what other cities might be like to live in.
Got more to discuss. Before we do that, we're going to take a quick break. We're coming up on Christmas. I think I got the first easy question of this interview, Mary. Are you looking forward to getting to New York this year?
Always.
Is there anything you're planning on doing besides it sounds like mainly you just hang out by yourself and buy a coffee maker for your hotel room?
I buy a coffee maker for my hotel room. I buy really fancy candles, flowers. It's a crazy tradition, but it is something that whether I'm there for 2 days, 3 days, 7 days, I just do it because I really feel like it's where I'm supposed to be. And it feels a hell of a lot better than that horrific scene of trying to jam my triangle-shaped self into everybody's round hole.
Now, at some point after a couple of these trips, you realize that though they might be comforting and might be helpful to craft new traditions, there isn't an address you can find where you aren't going to be stalked by this stalker who you name in the book. And at that moment, I imagine there's some despair, but also at that moment, I imagine that you have a sense of, okay, the solutions have to come not from relocating, but from doing what needs doing to get this stalker out of your life. At that moment, after some of that travel, was it a heartbreaking moment to go, oh, I can't move away from this, I have to respond to this? Or was it a sense of this is the only option left and here I go?
I wanted, in some naively perhaps, I wanted to see a conclusion. Foolishly, I thought there'd be one. I thought that having gone through almost 3 years, I thought, well, I have to see this through to the end. And I think what that looked like, or what I imagined that looked like, was a sentencing that fit the crime. Of course, I couldn't have known. So there was certainly a sense of, yeah, I'm going to see this through here in court.
The conclusion ends up being pretty disappointing to you. It ends up being a legal slap on the wrist. And after that, you also learn the heartbreaking news that another one of your colleagues is being stalked in a similar fashion. And there isn't often easy resolutions to these stories. But this was a really disappointing resolution. I mean, the legal system let you down. Your employer let you down. You didn't let yourself down. At this moment, as you are going to have to trot out and have the conversations with different radio folks, different TV folks, and go up there, and to know that the fundamentals of this story end in a way that I'm not happy with, and I'm far from as involved in it, obviously, as you are. How is it to tell the story when it ends in a disappointing way?
I will find out, Sean. I'm going to be honest and tell you that I have a certain trepidation because, yeah, I started thinking about it. Oh my God, I'm literally going out in public and, really revealing a lot. And this stalker is actually out and about. And I'm not going to let that get in the way, but it's a thought, of course. And it's kind of funny because it became more of a creative decision, but it was born out of a necessity when I first kind of pitched the book. I know as a first-time memoir author, you, of course, can't assume anyone knows who you are at all. And the publisher wants to get a really good idea of who you are. Now, you may have a specific narrative that's, I'm being hunted down by a stranger, but people need to know who you are. So it was very easy in that way to structure the book in the way I did. And it really made a lot of sense because it's not a tell-all book about radio, but including some things and certainly going into family things and just previous things. I just think, again, it gives you a much balanced idea of who am I, just get a sense of who I am again as a first-time author. I mean, I'm looking at the cover, looking at the cover right now, which guess who designed it?
Who designed it?
Me.
Oh.
But I had to laugh because I have always written, but I'd never written a book. And the process was fascinating. It was very interesting to work with an editor who chose what maybe would or wouldn't resonate with a strange reading audience. But I do think there's an awful lot of people that might be disappointed thinking this is a radio tell-all.
It's a really good book. Also, I knew you were a good writer before I read this book. I read you in Dispatch. I've read some other things you've written. I've read things you wrote when you worked for The Current. You stack a bunch of facts about you on page 10 in this introduction, where each fact is like gives you a smirk. The collective of it gives you a smile. And I'm hoping you could read on page 10 from, I've been a rock DJ my entire adult life, and unless you get bored, I want to at least get to the Kirby Puckett line.
I've been a rock radio DJ my entire adult life. You could say it's in my blood, or at the very least in my stool. Every day I wake up, I think of the Rolling Stones. And I don't think there's anything odd about that. I can pick out the perfect Christmas tree in under 10 seconds. I dread everything. I regret nothing. I'm certain I was born neck first. The first time I did blow, it was off a copy of Thriller. I learned to drive in a cemetery. I'll try anything twice. When I was 7, I had to get rid of a single goldfish kept in a bowl in my bedroom because it was keeping me awake at night. I once lived in a Victorian round-room apartment. It didn't take long to acclimate to its uniqueness. I just needed to accept that no furniture was flush against any wall. Everything was jutting out awkwardly, ready for the perfect midnight toe stub. I thought and behaved in a less linear way during this time in my life, and I attributed it all to living in a spherical funhouse. I can understand the difference between someone who says, I don't dance, and the person who says, I don't know how to dance, and I want to hug the latter. I once had a great shrink who taught me never to start a sentence with, if I'm being honest with you, it implies you're normally an insincere, big, honkin' liar. I've been playing lots of insomnia Jeopardy at night. I'll take people who've wronged me for 500, Alex. I know the best revenge is living well, but in the real world, healthy doses of spite never killed anyone. And I've used the expression, touch 'em all, Kirby Puckett, in a sexual manner. Yeah.
Mary, how do you figure out what you leave in and what you leave out to put such an incredible and hilarious portrait of yourself that isn't for yucks, it's for something more? How do you figure out what to say?
Tell the truth. Just tell the truth. I tried really hard just not to overanalyze or edit my own self, because I just thought, again, the truth is really going to come out, and I find humor in the darkest of places. So,
Mary, one thing that comes up in this book is you and a handful of other people spend some time thinking of your stalker as being otherwise a normal person. So you're expecting otherwise normal actions outside of these terrible, criminal, felonious actions. And at some point you realize this is a person where there's not going to be a set of normal actions. This is deranged behavior, and you have to start responding as such. And that was hard for me to accept, because it's hard for me to accept that there's people that have evil, that core to their actions. But it does seem like at that moment, that's when you, and to some extent some of the people you worked with from the police department, started actually making some headway when you realized there isn't going to be a lot of prevailing logic. We have to respond in this deranged way to this deranged person. I am just curious, was that hard for you to give up on the idea of reasonability or of logic or of this returning to normal behavior at some point?
I have deep compassion for mental illness and awareness. Interestingly, yeah, I think when it all kind of really started, and in general, people I spoke with, yeah, it was almost as if everyone looked at it like, well, they'd start the sentence, who in their right mind would? And after a while, I realized you've got to stop saying that, because we aren't dealing with someone in their right mind. And at the end of my story, which is not really over, no one's is, but I got to realize that this person's delusion was as real to them as the terror and trauma was to me.
What do you love about pugs?
They're like old men. It's like they aren't dogs. You could throw a ball. They just look at you like, what do you think I'm supposed to do with that? They're unique. They're ridiculous. You can't train them. And they're game. They're like kind of game to just go, oh, is this what we're doing for the night? Or, are we hanging out in here? It's just, they're not dog people dogs. They're like little 80-year-old guys from Boca. They're just my style.
Speaking of your style, you ooze authenticity, not only in this book, but in the work you do on air and frankly, as somebody who's been a friend of yours in the way you relate to human beings in person as well. For folks who feel like they got some of that authenticity, but they can't get it onto the page, do you have advice for how you got there where you could bring something really authentic onto a piece of paper in this writing?
I think it was no different, Sean, than how I ever cracked a mic. One of the things that I was always told as a backhanded compliment was, God, you're really good when you're talking about something that you like. I always found that funny because I kind of thought, well, would you like me to talk about the Decemberists and what I actually think of them? Or should I just move on and find the one good song I like in this? And it's kind of conditioned me to be honest. I hope I don't. I know I don't. I don't go out of my way to hurt anyone's feelings. Hopefully Joanna Newsom won't be hurt.
The first time I got a paycheck from Jazz 88, I texted Jesse Wise and I said, I got a whole paycheck and I didn't have to play any Alt J. That
Oh my God.
Full pay and Bennies, no Alt J.
Yep.
So when I read your Alt J negativity, it cracked me up.
Yeah. Which one is Alt? Which one is J? Can't look at them though. Don't look at them.
The book comes out tomorrow. It is What Doesn't Kill Me Makes Me Weirder and Harder to Relate to. It's by Mary Lucia and graphic design, also by Mary Lucia. Spectacular cover. There are release events on December 9th at the Granada Theater with the great Liz Winstead and on December 10th at the Landmark Center with the great Andrea Swenson. Mary Lucia, I am so honored to have had this time with you. Thank you so much for chatting with CityCast Twin Cities. We want to hear from you, listener. What do you love about pugs? Let us know by texting or leaving us a voicemail on the CityCast Twin Cities hotline. That is 612-217-0637. If you talk pugs, we are guaranteed to play it on a future episode. That's all for today here on CityCast Twin Cities. I'm your host, Sean McPherson. Mary Lucia and contributor PaviElle French, thank you so much for being here today. You can get more news delivered right to your inbox by subscribing to the CityCast Twin Cities newsletter. If you enjoyed today's show, why not share this podcast with someone who can tolerate Alt J for more than 2 minutes? We'll see you back here tomorrow for more news from around the city.